Hello everyone, my name is Beck. Today I will share you what I have learned about writing academic papers. Advice from journal editors. The set of guidelines and hints was developed by the members of the International Academy for the Study of Tourism, who are chief editor of leading journals in our field. And this presentation will offer a series of suggestions about what authors need to consider and common mistakes to avoid when preparing a manuscript. You can keep this set of suggestions handy and refer to it when drafting papers. And in this presentation, I will show you about 9 points that in each point I will mention do's and don'ts, what you should do and what you shouldn't do in each part. The first section is journal selections. You should follow other guidelines and conform to the submission format of the journal. And you also ensure that the paper meets the scope and objective of the journal while you also ensure that the method is acceptable to the journal. However, you should avoid submitting the same paper to different journals simultaneously, and resubmitting paper rejected by one journal to another journal without first revising them. For the second part is about quality of presentations. You should draft the paper to perfection to ensure a single, coherent story is told well. Make sure that the manuscript is internally consistent, the argument is well developed, no gap in logic, etc. Proofread, reread, and rewrite many times. Have the manuscript proofread by a native speaker to ensure there are no typographical and grammatical errors. And you shouldn't do suggest sloppy spellings and grammar, poor sentence constructions, mix of US and British English spelling, cutting and pasting, computer-generating tables such as SPSS table without editing them in the suitable format. Plagiarism is the main thing that you should avoid, and you have to avoid it. Given the impression that you do not respect the journal, that the reject is almost always guaranteed if the paper reads like a draft, the abstracts contain many sloppy errors, citation and reference are poor written, incomplete, have many errors, or are clearly cut and pasting without editing. This is all you should avoid about quality of presenting. For the topic selection, which is also important, especially for the master degree student or PhD, before you choose a topic, you should consider about this. Focus on the originality of the topic. Choose topics that have a strong impact that others will find interesting. And ensure that the gap being filled is real, not just a function of a selective literature review. Choose the topic that can make a real contribution to theory, methodology, and/or knowledge. Ask and answer a specific research questions, and ensure that the so what question is clear. And you should avoid the simple case studies that are not designed to answer clearly defined conceptual, theoretical problems or questions. Topics that have already been covered extensively. They may be publishable in lower tier journal, but will rarely be accepted in top tier journal. Studies that are to focus on research context or a specific location. And you also should avoid consulting projects unless they can be framed well conceptually. The next point is abstracts. You should state a research question and indicate the research methods, state number and which population is represented, state key findings, state why the research finding is important, and keep to 150 words or less. And you should avoid writing the abstracts as an afterthought or repeating the first paragraph of the paper and misrepresenting the actual manuscript. For the context and literature review, you should demonstrate theoretical sophistication and ensure the paper is conceptually strong by framing the study well in existing literature, theory, or concept, making sure the theory being used matches the actual study being undertaken, relating the context to the themes of the journal. For example, if the journal has a social science focus, ensure the context is based on social science. Or, if you are students of tourism and hospitality, you should think about the context of tourism and hospitality in order to submit your research in the Tourism and Hospitality Journal. Ensure the literature review is current and include all core reading. And also build a story from literature by integrating sources in the logical ways that inform the reader what is known and not known about the research questions. And the last one is read wisely. Do not lazy to read. You also should avoid deficienting literature review that have few reference, use old or outdated reference, or selective use of reference that omit key reference, or study that either replicate your study or come to different conclusions. Sequential writing without synthesis. For example, also one state, also two found. Or chicken things, writing that include many irrelevant sources. Reference taking, including large number of references to make a single point. Be careful, when you keep writing the same points, describe the very long, but it's useless, not meaningful. Method. You should explain the method fully, limitations, and all. No method is perfect. Make sure you understand the method used and apply it correctly. Ensure method and sample are appropriate to answer the research questions. Ensure you understand the analytical technique being used and use them properly. While you should avoid trying to hide weakness in the method, it is impossible to hide a weak method, providing a insufficient detail of the method so that the referee cannot judge its validity. Be careful with the method you choose. Discussion conclusions. You should summarize briefly the goal of the study and the key finding. Ensure the so what question is answered and explain the broader implications or significance of study. And you should avoid repeating the finding sections. Conclusion that only talk about the case and do not discuss the broader theoretical contributions of the result. drawing implications that cannot be supported by the data, or mission scrap, starting the paper by asking one question and finish it by answering another question. Be careful for these points, and make sure outrageous or unsupported statement about the significance of the finding. Other components of paper. You should have a good title, be concise, capture the essence of the paper and give the impressions that the paper is unique or important. Ensure reference and complete the written correctly. Limit the numbers of tables and figures. Include all well-written cover letter that explain what is generally new, unique, significant, or important about the paper, and make sure that the contributions about innovations of the research are both real and stated clearly. The last point is responding to referee's comment. You should remember, referees are doing you a favor by reviewing your paper. Respect them. Remember, referees are selected because they have some expertise in the topic area and therefore are familiar with the literature. Appreciate that almost no paper is ever accepted as is. In some cases, major revisions is a good outcome. Remember, and you should avoid trying to please reviewer by agreeing with every comment. If you genuinely disagree with them, or if they are wrong, instead write a considered response indicating why you do not agree. And antagonizing referees. That's all for what I want to share you today, and all of this I got from the conference, from the seminar, and you also can find further information in the International Academy for the Study of Tourism by the website www.tourismscholars.org, which is the non-profit organization established to enhance both theoretical and practical research in tourism, which its goal is to further scholarly research in and professional investigations of tourism by encouraging the applications of tourism research findings and advancing the diffusion and exchange of knowledge about tourism. Members are highly accomplished tourism researchers from throughout the world. Thank you for your watching.